Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday at 10:05. Time for Pop Speed Digital's Hot Take Tuesday. We are talking about authenticity today. It's really, really important in social media circles. And actually, it's becoming more important overall. And when we say authenticity, what we mean is realness. And I'm here with Kylie and Molly, and we're going to break this down for you. But before we get started, I want to kind of give you some examples that I find really interesting. We had a client that we do work for, and we do ads on Meta, and we are responsible for getting leads for them. And we were running a video, and the video was, had some graphics at the front and the back, and the client had provided it to us. And we took it, we ran it, and we noticed our leads were kind of falling down. We were getting less leads. So we took that video, we got the raw footage, and we just cut out the essence. No music, no graphics, just the very essence of what the testimonial was. And it went from getting no leads to getting 17 leads in 24 hours in a category that's extremely competitive. And when I say lead, I mean someone giving you their name, their email address, and their phone
Mhm.
number. We all know how difficult that is to get from a lead. So it's something that we've seen time and time again that people want real. And another indication of that is Heather Cox Richardson puts out an email newsletter every day. And she put one out last week and talked about the fact that production on reality television is down by 50% in Los Angeles. And what that tells us is we all know reality TV isn't real. Reality
Mhm.
TV is fake authenticity, and people are getting really tired of it. So the ratings for reality TV are down. The production is down. And I would personally like to see it shown the door for more true reality, which is what we mean when we say authenticity. So now I'll get
Absolutely.
off my soapbox now. Um, obviously, I feel really passionate about it because
Mhm.
we've seen it work. And it's really, really important that you remember that your social media and your digital marketing is to get results. And paying attention to what gets results is one of the ways that you can maximize your ROI. So, Kylie, tell us what we're going to talk about in more detail.
Yes, absolutely. So this Thursday actually is National Authenticity Day. So in the spirit of authentic content and remaining authentic on social media, we wanted to talk about it a little bit today. So our three big points here, and again, we're in this series right now where we're focused on what gets ROI. And that example that Lori gave, right off the jump about this experiment we did with our client recently kind of inspired us to take this route lately, because it was such an obvious example of authentic content outperforming polished content. So it
Mhm.
was very tangible. It was very obvious to us. So we figured this is the perfect thing to share in our Hot Take Tuesday. So
Yes.
our top three things to kind of cover on this topic are that people prefer authenticity. It seems like a very straightforward statement, but it's a really important one. Number two is, you've heard us say it before, standing out by fitting in. That really, really relates to focusing on that authentic content. And number three, kind of going along with the same theme, is that polished content is not relatable and people want to relate.
Absolutely. So, starting out at the beginning, people really want you to be real,
Mhm.
and they trust you when they feel like you're real as opposed to putting on a front. Molly, what do you have to say about this one?
Yeah. So like in with pretty much every single client that we have ever had, we just keep seeing the same um like theme come up every single time is smiling real people
Yep.
perform and the polished graphics and videos don't, just like Lori said earlier with our recent example. Like people prefer to see people being funny, doing real things, being fun on social media. And
Mhm.
if you're not authentic, you're not going to perform.
Yeah,
it's
I
if
think a really go ahead, Lori. I was gonna say.
it's and when you put graphics on it or you know, add to it, are you really adding value to your content or are you
Right,
just adding
Yeah.
graphics, right?
right. I
Go ahead,
think
Kylie.
that's I think a really good example of this is when you put it like obviously every industry is different in what they're going to need to put out on social media, right? I think a good example of where authentic content obviously outperforms is like in a restaurant type industry or restaurant type business. If,
Mhm.
you know, in that case, you have one of the, in terms of what you're putting on social media as your imagery, you have one of the easiest sells in the game, right? You have good pictures of food. You can take really easy UGC if your customers are happy. And, you know, if you have like a social media person walking around or, you know, your hostess or your general manager walking around, get photos of happy customers instead of turning to graphics or turning to like really, really put together, overly edited, overly posed, not as candid pictures of the restaurant. I
Mhm.
think we mentioned this before, but and I'm sure this number has grown. I believe it was a year and a half to 2 years ago, where Meta came out with a study that photos of smiling people outperform any other type of like graphic content on social media by like 29%. And that is essentially when we talk about authentic content, what we're saying. You want real people doing real things, and that is how you sell your brand.
Absolutely. And video is a big part of that. Like I
Yeah.
encourage, I think we're doing LinkedIn Lives for 2 or 3 different clients regularly now. And
Mhm.
we do them monthly, and it gives the audience a chance to see people live, so it's really authentic, talking
Mhm.
about what it is that they do or the product or, you know, whatever the audience needs to know. And it gives the audience an opportunity to ask questions. They
Yeah.
can interact with you on a LinkedIn Live. So we like to do those because it does make a difference, and it also lets you get leads. You know,
Mhm.
you can have a sign up on your LinkedIn Live so that people sign up and then that becomes, and they're told that you'll be marketing to them. So that becomes another source of leads for you is that authenticity in those live events. So next, this is a really good one. Molly, you want to take
Yep.
this one? This good old
Yeah.
stand out by
So
fitting in. What do we mean by that?
so basically, like when you go on social, just as a regular person, what are you going to look at? Keeping up with your friends and your acquaintances and seeing what people are up to and maybe having a laugh, maybe having just a fun, silly time on social media. And if you're seeing a salesy promotional post from a brand or an influencer or someone, you're just going to scroll. You're not going to want to
Mhm.
engage with it. So we always say keep your content light and visually similar to what your audience wants to see, and
Yep.
you're likely going to perform a lot better.
And never forget that social media is social. We are
Mhm.
biological beings. We crave connection. Smiling faces make us feel better than someone frowning or being, you know, crabby.
Right.
So if you can when we say stand out by fitting in, we mean your brand should look like the other content that people are there to look at. Not,
Right.
you know, big graphics and commercials and things. And are you going to run those? If you have a commercial and it's a good commercial, absolutely post it on your
Right.
social. But make
Right.
sure it's balanced with true authentic content as well.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's a really important distinction before we jump into how unrelatable polished and real or not real content is that, you know, it's in like going back to my restaurant example, you're going to have to publish a menu graphic on social media at some point, or if you're
yeah.
running a deal, or, you know, if you're closed because of the weather or things like that. This, none of this is to say that that type of content is not expected or okay for a brand to publish at any point. It's it's just finding that balance of,
Yes.
you know, oh, yeah, I think personally that just publishing graphics is a really easy way to earn an unfollow. Um,
Yeah.
Ever publishing them, not quite the same, but it's that balance of like really incorporating what your audience goes to social to look for.
Right. And I'll give you an example. I mean, we had one of our clients, we were running their Instagram account and we lost the client to a friend of a new employee that came in. And that happens. It's okay.
Mhm.
And we've been watching because, you want to keep an eye on how another, as an agency, it's important to us to see what other agencies are doing. So we keep an eye on our old, the accounts of our former clients as well to see what their new agency is doing. And we noticed an example of them converting their Instagram feed from a lot of authentic photographs to a lot of posts with graphics on them. And you could click through the feed and watch the likes go down. I mean, the number of likes on the content reduced. And
Mhm.
with an organic, Instagram feed, you don't want that to happen. You really
Yeah.
don't want that to happen. So specifically on Instagram, it's even more important. So
Yeah.
tell us about this slide, Kylie.
Yeah, so this one goes back to the fact that polished content is not relatable. So with this example, particularly if a member of your audience is going to go as far as to follow your brand on their personal social profiles, there's a reason for it, right? Whether it's because they want to keep up with sales that you may be having or new products that you're dropping or deals that you're running or whatever the case may be, there's a reason for it. And I think as it's difficult to say anything is universal, but I think as a very close to universal law on social media, anybody that's not our close friend, our loved one, a distant relative, or whatever the case may be, we follow accounts or other people because we want to either learn something or find something to relate on, right? And if your
Mhm.
content is focused on, very, very put together stock images or really professional graphics, or worse yet, really unprofessional graphics, but it's just graphic content, it's going to be really
Yep.
difficult for your audience, which it's very easy for brands to kind of get lost in, oh, you're our audience or you're a follower. These are real people, right? And as real people, we want to see and be privy to the real people behind the brands that we choose to engage with.
Mhm. Yep. When I was in big agency land, I remember a strategist asking me once because I was a copywriter, "Who's we?" When I would write, "We want
Mhm.
you to blah blah blah." And my strong feeling and my approach has always been that people on social media don't follow, they don't necessarily want to know just all about your product. They want to know about the people behind the product.
Right.
So you can use we because we is the people behind the brand. And
Mhm.
that is who should be doing the social media, the people behind the brand, and it should be done as humanly as possible.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to just throw in here because real is rare is we are seeing more and more AI copy in
I was
social.
just thinking that.
Oh, just don't. Just
Yeah.
don't. We don't do any AI copy because it's
Mhm.
it's flowery, it's long, it's sometimes it's completely incorrect. But more than
Mhm.
anything else, it's flowery and fake, right,
Yeah.
guys? I mean, and
Yeah.
nobody's reading. I mean, the best this is the statistic from 10 years ago, but I'm willing to bet it's still true. The
Mhm.
highest performing social posts, even on Facebook, are 156 characters or less.
Yeah.
People don't
I think
read. They don't want to
that
read.
hand in hand with like something that we say amongst, our team quite often is write like you speak.
Yep.
Obviously, grammar is important, and you want to you want to present yourself or your brand as coherent on social media, so not
Yes,
in
please.
every way, but you want to write in also in an authentic way, right? How many people do you know that speak very dramatically or on a regular basis, very like, very professional and formal and things like that? It's casual, it's social media. So I think that that's another flaw of AI copy, is that
Yeah.
it's definitely not written how real humans speak to one another.
Yeah. Yeah. And one quick before we let you go, one quick tip here is there are exceptions to every rule.
Mhm.
And on LinkedIn in particular, sometimes on Facebook and the other channels, it is appropriate to do a longer post if it's a personal story
Mhm.
that's impactful, that is emotion evoking, then it's appropriate. So, there's an exception to every rule. The majority of your posts should be very short and to the
Mhm.
point, smart brevity. So with that, I think before I lose my voice, we'll let you go back to your day. So thank you so much for joining us. We are Pop Speed Digital Marketing LLC. We are located in Metro Detroit, but we are also essentially remote. We're a fully remote team. We focus on social media. We also do other digital marketing, email, blog articles that Google really loves,
Mhm.
and website development and maintenance. So if we can help you, get a hold of us at popspeeddigital.com. We have a contact form on our website. We'd love to hear from you. We are all also open networkers here on LinkedIn. So connect with us here and let us know if we can help. I always offer a half-hour free audit of your social media. Jump on Zoom with me and I'll go through your social and kind of give you some suggestions and ideas for improving it. We are a service-oriented organization, so we're always happy to help out. And we will look forward to seeing you next Tuesday morning. Take care.
Love it. Bye, guys.
Bye.